Everyone's gone quiet. We'll just wait for the rest of our guests to come in and then we'll get a start. Anywhere up the front you like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we might make a start. Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I would like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands and waters, the Ngunnawal people. I acknowledge and respect their continuing connections to their lands, waters, their stories, traditions and living cultures, and the contribution to life and spirit of our community. I pay respect to past and present elders and extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. Welcome to the first Wiser Turn the Tide Roundtable. I am Heidi Mummy and I am Chair of Women in Seafood Australasia, which is more commonly known as Wiser. Turn the Tide is the flagship project which started running this year in 2023 and continues through to 2026. It is funded by the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet's Office for Women and is supported by the Fisheries Research and Development Corporation. A lot of you who are here today, thank you for your support. Through Turn the Tide and the programs we are running, our aim is to connect, enable and support all women working in and with the Australian seafood industry. Our project is ambitious. We aim to break barriers, transform culture and build resilience. We're doing this work because we believe that the seafood industry needs to hear what the incredible women of industry have to say, as you all will hear today. Turn the Tide is creating a movement to champion inclusivity in this industry that we are deeply passionate about. Because we know when we welcome, hear and see diverse voices and people, we enable an industry that is both fair and one that will thrive into the future. We invite all of industry to join us on this journey. Thank you to those who are here today in the room with us, but we also thank those of you online who are joining us today. This roundtable is the culmination of our 2023 Turn the Tide Entrepreneurship and Leadership program, which is led by Effectus. As you will soon see, this program has brought together 30 determined and accomplished women from all parts of the seafood industry around the country. They have been working together for 5 months to tackle difficult and long-standing issues for women, issues that have been identified by Australian seafood women through wiser research and workshops that we've conducted. These women have been collaborating and have used entrepreneurial and leadership thinking to push beyond problems and to take steps to action and advocacy. Each group has been guided by one of our 5 facilitators who have been learning how to inspire, motivate and mobilise groups. And these 5 are ones to watch. So these 30 women have been working on some really hard projects and they have been working really hard. They are motivated because they care about making change. I want to recognise that this takes courage and this takes leadership. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with this group of women and watch the journey that they have been on to turn the tide for women in the Australian seafood industry. Now you're going to get to hear and see what we have been able to witness. We hope you enjoy your afternoon, and I'm now going to invite one of our team facilitators, Salma Ibrahim, to the mic to provide you with an overview of today's session.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction, Heidi, and the welcome. My name is Salma Ibrahim. I represent the national sales role for East 33. I'm one of the entrepreneurship and leadership facilitators here today, one of 5, as Heidi's already mentioned. My very small role this afternoon compared to last night is just to give you a little lowdown of what today is going to offer. So obviously we have a bit of an introduction. We will then be given a bit of an update from Molly over here in relation to the process of our small group workshops. Then we will have group presentations. These group presentations will start with Molly's group, then it will be my own group, then it will come with Sonny, followed by Sarah, followed by Kate. We will then flow into a Q&A session. Q&A session will be in person. And the facilitator who will be running that session is Sarah. Following that, around 3 o'clock, we'll break out into some conversation groups. Each group will gather and basically have conversations, understand what it is we've learned from the various group presentations, and then we'll do a bit more question and answers after that, followed by some feedback, followed by a little bit of afternoon, and of course a formal close from our fearless leaders over there, Heidi, Kirsten, and everyone else. So this afternoon's session is basically for our industry to come together and hear the outcomes of our groups and what we've been working on. We're looking at solutions to issues that have been raised. We're going to get an insight as to how those issues came about in the first place. But the idea today is to fundamentally start a process of action. We've got the solution, but who here is going to come on board, ride the wave with us? Over to you. Kate.
Thank you, Salma. Hello, my name is Kate Lamison, and I'm the owner of Little Tuna and the Lamison Seafood Group. I'm also working with the Women of Wiser in the finance area. Today I'll be introducing you to the 5 key subjects our teams will be delving into. So before we dive in, I'd like to give you some context on the origins of these topics and the incredible importance behind how these 5 topics were selected. These subjects were put together by individuals in the industry. Many of those individuals are sitting in this room. And they're real topics and issues drawn from their day-to-day experiences. As women in the industry, we are confronted with these issues regularly. The groundwork for these topics was laid out during the Breaking the Barriers workshops at Seafood Directions in 2022 and at World Aquaculture Conference in 2023, as well as the Wiser research conducted in 2021. To those who participated and contributed to the open and honest discussions, we thank you for your conversation and your willingness to share your stories. I personally feel privileged to have taken part in the Breaking the Barriers at Seafood Directions and I also contributed to delivering the workshop at World Aquaculture. And I stand here today as a facilitator alongside 28 remarkable women, initiating the first steps towards addressing these industry issues and implementing solutions. While the topics are broad and equally important, these 5 were the most common and chosen by the participants as issues they could provide solutions to. So the 5 topics are as follows. So Molly's team, known as Team Confidence, are addressing building strategies, tools and ideas for increasing confidence in women. Salma's team, known as Waves of Women, developing skills and strategies to build, manage and grow your business as a woman in a male-dominated industry. Sonny's team, Team She-See, raising the visibility of and opportunities for women in leadership. Sarah's team, Tied with Connection, growing deeper and stronger connection, teams and networks among seafood women to build resilience and opportunity. And finally, my team, Team Glassbreakers, navigating the network and overcoming exclusion and isolation from the existing network to break through the glass ceiling. I'll now hand you over to Molly. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Molly Christensen and I hail from Hobart, Tasmania. I am the lead of aquaculture operations at the Institute of Marine and Antarctic Studies. Today I would like to talk you through the small group process and the 5 workshops conducted over the past several months. All discussions until this week were conducted online. This group of 30+ women discussed, brainstormed and devised plans for the future of women within the seafood industry, from their homes, their workplaces, and even on boats. As you have just heard from Kate, the issues we're working on are broad. There is a reason why these topics have not yet been tackled. It takes commitment, hard work, and determination to delve deep within the issue, propose solutions, and then conduct a pilot program. Firstly, we needed to narrow our topic. What did we want to tackle? What has been done previously, what worked and what didn't. Collection of this data was key to our success today. 5 online workshops were run several weeks apart and lasted 3 hours. Preparation behind the scenes from our T3 facilitators, Wiser and Effectus team was vast. It is because of this hard work that action and advocacy initiatives could not only be devised within our small groups, but acted upon within such a short time frame. Challenges for the team included creating group cohesion, continuous motivation, mobilising of ideas to reality, and working together towards a shared common goal within this time frame. Each workshop consisted of a theme, and facilitators set tasks to be completed each week within the small group sessions, which lasted anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. We're also lucky enough to have guest speakers, development sessions with Jill and Heidi, as well as a space for reflection and contemplation as not only a small team, but a wider group. It is with great pleasure that I can introduce the first team to you this afternoon. This team has a very special place in my heart, as I was the facilitator along this incredible journey. Please sit back, listen carefully, and enjoy all the following presentations. Can you please join me in welcoming Team Confidence?
Excuse me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Turn the Tide Entrepreneurship and Leadership Program. My name is Sally Hancock and I'm the SFM Blue Supply Manager at Sydney Fish Market. My team members consist of Cecile Massoud, Research Fellow at James Cook University in Queensland, Rebecca Pedlar, R&D Technician, Clean Seas Seafood, South Australia, Mary Parker, Senior Hatchery Technician, Tasmanian Oyster Co. Tasmania. Ashley McVilly, Aquaculture Technician at Mainstream Aquaculture, Quinn Barn, scientist at CSIRO Aquaculture and Food in Queensland, and our lovely facilitator, who you've met, Molly Christensen, Institute of Marine and Antarctic Studies in Tasmania. Over the past 12 weeks, myself and my team of smart, successful and beautiful women have had many discussions on the barriers and challenges women are facing working within the seafood industry. We wanted to support women within the industry and have particularly focus on the topic of confidence. The definition of confidence is a belief in oneself, the idea that one has the ability to meet life's challenges and to succeed, and the willingness to act accordingly. Being confident requires a realistic sense of one's capabilities and feeling secure in that knowledge. Women are regularly encouraged to demonstrate self-confidence as a strategy to progress their careers and become more successful at work. Our team's research have learned that many guides on confidence recommend women to stand their ground and to fake it till they make it. Women within the seafood industry and many other industries have to do all this while balancing on a knife's edge. They need to remain likeable and warm by appearing unintimidating, unforceful and undomineering. Our team have brainstormed ideas on how to help women overcome this balance. My team member Cecile will now explain this more.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm going to tell you first the why and then the how. So in the past, I actually found myself in the shoes of that lady on the right side, where my work wasn't valued and I lost all my confidence and even questioned whether I was good at my job. And I realized that my story is not unique. So while today I have regained my confidence, I am so thrilled to be part of this team here, which is a group of women that have made their mission to improve confidence at the workplace. We have found that confidence is actually a pillar of career development. So to help women develop their confidence at the workplace, we have designed a safe place for them to improve their confidence, and that in the framework of a podcast series, where first we actually found guest speakers that they were ready to talk about skills such as imposter syndrome or assertiveness. But also we found women that were happy to talk about their journey in their career and the importance of confidence in their journey. So we have actually a couple of podcasts, and we are planning on putting them on the website of Wiser for the lady who are participating to the mentorship program. And we are exploring other avenues to actually increase the audience, such as publishing it on Spotify. And the good thing about this podcast series is because it's about 20 minutes to 60 minutes. It's a very short length. Ladies can actually listen to it when they go to work or during lunch break, and they can easily integrate that into their day-to-day life with work commitments, children, and all the other activities that make life worth living. So now I'm going to pass it on to Mary, who's going to explain you a bit what we actually have achieved. Thank you.
Right, so where we are at right now, after deciding on the podcast to deliver training content, we then created our podcast name and logo and recorded audio for an introduction and outro for our episodes. We formulated a list of skills and topics that we wanted our podcast to cover. We also created a formal invite, which we then used to reach out to industry leaders and potential podcast guests. 2 wonderful women took us up on that offer, and we were managed to record 2 demo podcasts.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Turn the
That's the wrong one, sorry.
We welcome all feedback and would love to... Hello and welcome to Turn the Tide Talks. the podcast that provides you with the tools you need to unlock your potential as a woman in the seafood industry. Tune in to skills sessions to fast-track your professional development and to hear from women who have already walked the path.
You know, faking it till you feel it. It just, you know, sometimes even when you can be quite scared on the inside, you know, just putting on a brave face and putting your best self forward can make a big difference.
Right, so that was a little clip from our podcast with Jan Strugnall. Cecile interviewed Professor Jan Strugnall of James Cook University. They discuss ways to build career confidence. Jan recommends describing your skills and achievements in a way that you would speak about your best friend as to not undermine your own achievements. We also had a podcast conducted by Sally. She interviewed Lauren Drummond, the Chief Marketing Officer of Sydney Fish Market. They discussed strategies of how to master assertiveness in the workplace. Lauren touched on the importance of building trusting relationships and calling on their support when you find yourself in challenging situations in the workplace.
Thank you, Mary. So what impact do we think this is going to have? So over the course of the E&L program, we've been fortunate enough to listen to a myriad of inspiring, talented and successful women from within the seafood industry. And I think we've all witnessed firsthand the impact this has had on our own professional development. We will all be leaving Canberra certainly feeling more inspired, connected and confident. And we will also be leaving Canberra with notebooks full of tidbits, lessons and strategies that we'll be taking back into our own workplace. So essentially what we want to do is we want to take the learnings and the experiences of these programs and make them more accessible to women in the seafood industry, and particularly those that, you know, lack the confidence to even put their hand up for these sorts of experiences. So what kind of impact do we think this is going to have on the industry and businesses in particular? So at its core, what we're really talking about is professional development that is bite-sized, doesn't require you to take leave or days off work. You can listen to it in your lunch break, and best of all, is free. So we think this is going to contribute to a more skilled and educated workforce, and we know that that in itself contributes to a more productive workforce, which at the end of the day is a more profitable workforce.
Our podcast was centered on addressing the confidence challenges that women face in the seafood industry. It isn't solely aimed at positively impacting the industry. It's equally about personal growth and development. As we've dived into the complex issues surrounding gender disparities, we have been prompted to face our own doubts and insecurities. Creating content for the podcast, conducting research, interviewing guests had pushed us beyond our comfort zones, bolstering our own confidence along the way. We found inspiration in the stories that we uncovered and the remarkable women that we had privilege to connect with. Ultimately, these podcasts aren't just about motivating and empowering women in the industry. It's also a journey for our own team to explore ourselves and grow. Look at the photo that 7 of us, 7 individuals when we started our journey, now and only met first time face to face here in Canberra. After months of working together online, feel like we are one as we share our common goal. Fast track the journey to confidence for women in the seafood industry. We're so proud that we're not only making a difference in the lives of others, but also transforming our own lives by gaining confidence, sharing our experiences, and evolving collectively.
Okay. So, when we first started to tackle the issue of confidence for women in the seafood industry, we were quick to realise that we were not alone in the struggles that we face. But lacking confidence hasn't stopped our ambition, our passion, or the growing skill set that we have. It can bring in self-doubt, make you question whether you deserve your success or if you've got what it takes to be a leader. We want to break down this barrier for women so we can take pride in our hard work, back ourselves on making tough calls, and feel assured that we do deserve to be recognised as leaders and entrepreneurs in this space. In the Turn the Tide program, we've been able to come together and build up our confidence, trust in the leaders that we've been working with, and catch on to their contagious energy. Great leaders not only have the confidence in themselves, but can bring it out in those around them. Women aspiring to be leaders and entrepreneurs don't have to push through alone, but with support and guidance from others. With a tool such as our Turn the Tide Talks podcast, we can provide somewhere to seek out skills, inspiring stories, and growing confidence to pursue long-lasting careers and in leadership and entrepreneurship within the Australian seafood industry. We are open to suggestions and collaborations from anyone interested in making this come to life. The guests we've already had have found it have been very enthusiastic and found it a very valuable experience. We need reliable supply of guests and hosts to facilitate, and anyone that can provide a valuable skill set or training behind the scenes. Moving forward, we need to be able to measure the impact of the podcast through case studies and conducting surveys and recording some testimonials. If you would like to, or if you know anyone that would be interested, don't hesitate to get in touch, as we would love to hear from you. There is a tear-off slip on the back of our one-pager. So if you do think of anyone or if you would be interested, just fill that out and hand it to any member of Team Confidence before the end of the day. We'll end our slides with our podcast outro. So I'll play that for you guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Turn the Tide Talks. We welcome all feedback and would love to hear from you if you have thoughts to share on this episode. As always, we're on the hunt for more contributors. If you have a career journey you'd like to share, or perhaps you could speak to a specific skill, we'd love for you to get in touch.
Okay, thank you. And I'd now like to introduce our next presenters, the Waves of Women.
Thank you, Team Confidence. That was amazing. Hello, welcome, and thank you to everyone who is with us this afternoon. Our values as Waves of Women are empowerment, confidence, uplift, promotion, determination, ethics, and passion. We are here to celebrate, promote, and heighten awareness of WISER and the strength and value of our membership. Together, we can empower and encourage women in our industry. I'd like to introduce you to our team. Savannah, Erica, Sue, our lovely facilitator Salma, give us a wave Salma, and my name is Celeste. Waves of Women was chosen to acknowledge and pay respect to all the women in seafood who have come before us, and for all the women who will follow in our wake. So many of us have been making waves, and we share and celebrate that. Our power and endurance creates change. Waves are made of energy. They are constant, and over time, they can change the shape of even the hardest of surfaces. They belong to the sea, and each of us owns our own space in the seafood industry. Waves of Women symbolises how we recognise each other. We welcome one another. We walk into an industry space ready to seek out and connect with one another. Waves of Women are seeking out one another in the seafood industry. We have the skills, strategies, strengths, and stories among our members. We want relationships between women in our industry. We want to be connected to our community. We are the voices, the experts, and the greatest champions for us. Sue will introduce our issue to you.
Our group was tasked with the issue, developing skills and strategies to manage and grow a business in a male-dominated industry. Early on in our group discussions, we were able to identify some tactical skills and strategies that we believe are relevant to this issue. Just to cover a few of those skills: leadership, with the emphasis on being assertive and adaptable. Resilience, being resilient enough to overcome any challenges you may face. And what I personally believe to be the most beneficial, celebrating our successes, no matter how big or small. No woman left behind. Each of these is already a strength for many of the women who are already members of WISER. Knowing that some of us have developed those skills and strategies as individuals shows us that we can share the magic between us all, as a community, as waves of women.
Savannah, come with me. I know you want to find your perfect woman. Tell me what you're looking for in your ideal professional WISER date. Long walks down the beach, picking her brain about management strategies for hatchery operations, and what else?
I'm really looking for that person who's going to support me in my endeavours in life. I have big dreams. Sometimes I think maybe too big, and I need that person who's going to be like, yes, you can do that. You're going to be that person.
And what are you going to offer to bring into the lives of young women taking their first steps into our seafood industry? How will you empower and uplift them at the start of their career?
Same way around, I want to be there for them. I remember how scary it was stepping into this industry as a young woman with obviously very little to no experience, and I just want to be that person who they can look up to and be like, if she's done this, I can do that too, because it's a scary thing, but we are all capable of so much and we just need to be there for each other. So I want to be that person.
Erica, I heard you have amazing skills in conflict resolution, diplomacy, mediation, and keeping the peace in your workplace. You must have so many women wanting to sit down over Pinot and pasta and pick your brain. Are you available for dinner dates?
Depends what you're looking for.
And what are you looking for in a new, exciting partner?
I'm looking for tips in business acumen and also self-confidence and decision-making.
Are you thinking of a long-term commitment? Or is this a no-strings good time with a woman before moving on to the next WISER member?
Yeah, let's keep it casual. So let me bring you up to speed with what you just seen. There is skills that I want to be shared and skills that are actually wanted. So we want to bring all of these together within the WISER network. One of our strategies involves leveraging existing assets and reigniting avenues such as the WISER website, the WISER Instagram page, and also the membership portal. There will be a drop-down menu in the membership form where you'll be able to choose if you want to become a mentor or a mentee, and this is entirely voluntary. So you'll be able to indicate and select what you need, what skills you're looking for, if you're looking for something short-term learnings or long-term learnings, or immediate skills that you require to be completing a project. So a question for you all, have you thought about your skills that you can bring to the table? And have you thought about what you actually need to be better in this industry? So we've thought about it, and it doesn't require much time, so it is entirely possible. So within this portal, you'll be able to convey what your skills are and what you're actually looking for. So this is the foundation of what we call the Gain an Hour and Give an Hour mentor-mentee program. And you can see here a snapshot of what the profile will look like with a couple of questions just to set the scene. And here is Sivana. She will teach us how the cool kids communicate.
Our other tool that we use to focus, our other tool we're using is Instagram and social media. We found, especially me coming in, I was looking for Wiser when I first started. I wanted to find that community, and I found it really hard because my first stop to look for something like that was on Instagram. And it wasn't a super active account, so it was kind of hard to find. So what we're doing is we're using the current Instagram account that Wiser has, and we're trying to get more engagement on it, posting photos, inspirational quotes, things like that, just to get people engaged. And if you can see up here, we've created the two hands, and you can see the big wow. It's waves of women. It's showing, like, wow, look at us, incredible women. Okay, and this is another thing we'll be doing and implementing is a monthly spotlight of women in the industry. And we have the lovely Laura here with a quick little snippet.
I'm Laura. I love seafood, particularly oysters and sashimi. I also love sailing, so if you want to come for a sail with me and ideally bring some oysters, that would be great.
So it's just a fun little snippet. There is a full interview we do have. It's currently nowhere, but we can put that somewhere if people are interested in it. I've noticed before there was a few people trying to scan the QR code. This is to the Wiser Instagram page, just to make sure if you do have Instagram that you are following them. So if you can open your camera in your Instagram app and scan it, it will just lead you straight there, and just follow along for this whole journey. And I'm sure all the other groups will be posting their amazing stuff through the page as well. So in combination with Give an Hour, Take an Hour, and social media, what we want to bring is what is your skill sets that you have to share and to support? Are you able to help us in our journey? Thank you. Sorry, we're not.
Sorry, good job. This is a room, sorry, hang on. This is a room full of powerful, intelligent, and skillful people who lead our industry. Let's join powers and make waves. I am woman, hear me roar. Over to Team Shisi and Sonny and her exceptional team of women. Thank you.
That was wow. Thank you, Waves of Women. Good afternoon, everyone. Our team was entrusted to work on the topic, raising the visibility of and opportunities for women in leadership. Namaste. I'm Soni. I'm a PhD student at the University of Queensland, and I'm also a senior lead auditor with over a decade of experience in the seafood industry. I'm here because I'm passionate about instigating change that empowers women to progress and achieve their career goals.
Hi, I'm Tara Kelly, and I'm a PhD student down in Hobart studying the seafood species. I'm here because I see really beautiful, strong women around me who I think would be amazing leaders for me, but there's massive barriers in their way, and I'd like to help contribute with lessening that struggle for them.
Good afternoon, I'm Sam, an aquaculture research scientist. I'm here because I'm exhausted and I'm fed up with the women in my industry facing unconscious gender bias that's limiting their career aspirations. And I would like to see this change.
Hola, I'm Diana. I've been in the seafood industry for over 25 years now. The last 10 of those I've been co-managing my own company, Ocean Phoenix in WA, along with my husband. And I'm here today because I'm very passionate about working with women who have to balance their professional interests with their personal commitments.
Good afternoon, I'm Jen. For over 25 years, I have worked in heavily male-dominated industries. I'm here today because I know firsthand how it feels to miss out on opportunities because I'm a woman. I also have a daughter. Her and her brother will be entering the workforce in less than 10 years. And we here today get to be a part of contributing to fixing the systematic barriers and biases for the future.
Ciao, I'm Roberta, and I'm an aquaculture scientist and science communicator. And I don't want to choose between family and career, and I don't want any other woman to choose between these two.
WISA conducted research since 2022 revealing key barriers in the Australian seafood industry that prevent women from reaching their full potential. We are here to define solutions and provide recommendations to break these barriers. Our call to action was to raise the visibility of and opportunities for women in leadership in the Australian seafood industry. Leadership is an action that individuals can take, and improving the visibility of women in leadership roles is crucial for promoting and implementing gender equality. We need to do this by bridging the gap and support women to pursue leadership roles. To achieve this, we surveyed women from the Australian seafood industry to gain a deeper understanding of the factors impacting women seeking leadership opportunities. And we had 52 women working in the seafood industry participating in the survey.
From the survey, we found out that 87% of women have witnessed gender discrimination and bias in their workplaces. They mentioned that this discrimination comes from both men and women, and it plays a significant role in preventing women who seek leadership roles from achieving them. Unfortunately, these women aren't seeing efforts being made at an industry or an institute level to decrease or to help deal with these discriminations and biases that we see in all our experiences. The aquaculture and university sectors were really well represented within the respondents of the survey. We also had people respond from sales, from government, processing, fisheries, and so on. But our biggest demographic was aquaculture and university. From this, we found that women who are under 40, they felt that they didn't have the confidence to seek out leadership roles, and 40 to 67% of them felt that they didn't have any opportunity to seek out these roles. And you'll hear more from other groups like Team Confidence today about how this impacts these women's experiences. We were concerned that these women who are seeking leadership opportunities were getting left behind. So we really wanted to understand how confidence and opportunity for leadership relates to their work experience and to their age.
We should expect to see a woman's confidence and access to opportunities increase with increasing age and experience, as would be the case if confidence and opportunities were tied to knowledge, experience and expertise. However, what we see is a plateau at a particular stage of a woman's career. We saw a strong correlation between the career stage when women are impacted by personal responsibilities, the years when too many women are questioned about their thoughts on children and marriage, and when their domestic responsibilities are increasing. Women largely agreed that their personal responsibilities were impacting their career progression.
We ask women what impacts are caregiving responsibilities having on their wishes to pursue leadership roles. And over 60% of the women who answered our survey have seen caregiver responsibilities impact their progression and have observed caregivers being placed in lower impact positions. One of the women actually told us the story of how she raised the issue of being employed in a lower position, lower pay than her equivalent male colleague. And her manager responded that she was at a 90% part-time loading due to childcare responsibilities every second Friday. And this was the answer, despite the fact that she was having exactly the same responsibilities as him. Research conducted by WISA in 2021 shows that the fact that more men occupy higher positions in the seafood industry is reflected in the gender pay gap. And this was 15% back in 2016. We want these stories to stop, to be part of the past.
These powerful stories are not unique, and the statistics speak for themselves. We can't stand by and wait for change, or simply continue to adapt to fit in. What we have accepted as normal is intolerable and needs to shift. This motivated us to create a platform where we can support and empower women. We give you SheSee, the place you go when you feel you have no options and need advice. SheSee helps women build themselves up through access to guidance, direction, essential resources, or even just a friendly chat, to give them the confidence to stand up and start to promote themselves. SheSee will help guide us to a new set of standards and a new normal. We encourage the room to share your resources, links, podcasts, and everything else we'll see you get presented with today, to share them with us so we can continue to build the SheSee platform.
We believe that if we want to make a change, we need to support each other, as together we are stronger. So in the last 5 months, we've been researching and trying to find useful information, company, link, website, that could help women in the leadership career. And actually, after a little bit of literature digging, we found quite a few useful information. But what we realized is that sometimes the biggest barrier and the most time-consuming thing is actually finding the right support and the right resources. And that's why we decided to summarize everything in a single platform, where all this help is just one click away. So that's the QR code, and soon you're gonna have a little paint flip as well. As well as that, communication is the sister of leadership. If we can't communicate, if we can't say what is wrong, and if we can't show the direction where we want things to go, things simply won't change. And this is why we decided to ask us, women in the seafood industry, what were our experiences, our thoughts, and how we wanted things to change. And we summarize everything in a small little animated video that we want to share so we can raise the visibility of women and show where things we want to go. So sit back and enjoy the view.
Current projections show us gender equality in full-time management positions in Australia is still 20 years away, landing us in the year 2043. But what if we could halve that and change the course of history? Imagine the Australian seafood industry set in that timeline. We conducted a survey and asked the women in seafood to share their workplace experiences with us. Our results show us that only 50% of them feel supported and are on the pathway to leadership. How do we unfold the other half of the women who feel left behind, unsupported and unseen? We ask them to share their stories.
You look too young, your communication is too soft, and you won't earn respect. The men who are only women, can you? I don't want to choose between family and career. I want both.
Here are some examples of supported workplaces.
As an international student, I believe Australia is doing an excellent job in investing in dignity. I was selected for the
Thank you. Let's now all welcome Tide with Connection.
Thank you so much, Team SheSee, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to introduce our networking group, Tide with Connection. Oh, shit, sorry. And our issue, which is growing stronger networks for women in seafood to build resilience and opportunity. So, here today we have Alison Bramwell from the Southern Seafood Producers Association in Western Australia. We have Jessie Andrewartha from Tasmanian Oyster Co. in Tasmania. We've got Rebecca Zaghini. Rebecca owns and operates Wild Local in Ingham in far north Queensland. And we have Shandy Yap, aquaculture technician with Mainstream Aquaculture in Victoria. We've got our fabulous facilitator, Sarah Hetzel, who runs her family's oyster business in Coffin Bay, South Australia. And me, Frances Huddlestone. I work for an organisation called Oysters Tasmania in Tasmania, and I work in project management and collaborative research, development and extension. Now, our group is spread out far and wide across the country. We cover many different sectors and have different skills and different life experiences. But as we got to know each other, and there were some common themes that had drawn us to participate in the Turn the Tide Entrepreneurship and Leadership program. And the words that kept coming up in our discussions were connection and opportunity. So, connection. This can mean having a network of support within the industry. And say for someone, I'll use Shandy as an example, who is new to the industry, this can be a real game changer. I think back to when I started out in the industry about 12 years ago, and I think had I had the wiser network surrounding me then, I would have been a lot better equipped to deal with challenges and more resilient to the things that came my way. But it's not just support. Networking is so critical for sharing new knowledge and information. And we heard from Beck, who running her own business, and she was really seeking connection to be able to innovate within her business, which is so important. And then opportunity. So what an amazing opportunity for us to be able to spend these 5 months on this journey with these amazing, ambitious, inspiring 28 women. But also to be here in Canberra and to have an audience with you, our network of influencers and change makers. And I don't know, as it's a male-dominated industry, like it can be so difficult to get these opportunities. So we hope, or we will, through this process, we'll be better equipped to grab on to the opportunities that do come our way, but also to identify new opportunities for ourselves. So, Jessie, would you like to come and tell us what we did over these 5 months?
Thank you, Frances. So, we identify that networking is incredibly important, and often women can find networking difficult to do with all of life's pressures. We had the pleasure to talk to Cynthia Mahoney early on in our journey, and she posed 3 questions to us about our networks. What do we want and already have? What do we want but we don't have? And what don't we want but have in our networks? These questions help form the topic for our webinar. The topics are the importance of networking, growing connections to unlock networking opportunity, and secondly, thriving in chaos, maintaining a positive mindset to build resilience. This will form an opportunity for women to identify what they are missing from their own networks and how they may go about filling these gaps. We also understand that while webinars are a fantastic opportunity to network, they don't replace a face-to-face networking opportunity. That's why for International Women's Day 2024, a paint and sip gathering will provide an opportunity for women to meet up and help form those deep connections. So look out for one in your local city. Shandy will take you through another networking idea.
Thank you very much, Jessie. My team and I have experienced a transformative journey at WISA, coming from diverse backgrounds and different states. Generally, the concept of networking was unfamiliar to me before I joined WISA. This is why our third objective of the member profile is something that I am really excited to share to you about. It will actually be a collaboration with WISA, and this feature will be out on their website very soon, and we will be taking charge and launching the website together. So keep an eye out for that. So this is really great for someone with a more casual networking style. It's a powerful tool for those who are pressed for time, or for those who would like to connect without the overwhelming pressures of face-to-face interactions. So how it works is the WISA website members could look and filter out members who are in their local region. So if you want to reach out to them, you can do it in a quick and efficient manner. So as you can see, this is an example of what it may look like. After hearing the amazing guests that we've had across a few days, we have decided to emphasize on making it very personal. We have to dive deeper to the whys and hows. We find that many profiles can be intimidating at times, so you may not want to connect, but you can see maybe this can be a good way to bridge that gap. So you can see I'm a food enthusiast who like to sing in the shower. So I hope this will be less intimidating if you want to connect with someone else. So our time with WISA has been very fulfilling. That is our very first Zoom session. So I'm so proud of my team over here and our amazing facilitator, Sarah. Look at us standing here and giving this presentation to all of you amazing individuals. So we've learned a lot about responsibility, using various tools online to communicate, proposal making. As you have seen, we have spoken to Cynthia Mahoney so that we can get her on board with our webinar. We also need some managing logistics because you don't really think about that when you're doing an event. So that's something really important to look about. And lastly, running a webinar. So tell us, Beck, what are some of the initiatives that we have that create a lasting impact?
Thank you, Shandy. That was amazing. Building stronger and deeper connections with women in all aspects of the seafood industry is what our group's work will deliver upon. Creating different ways for members to connect is how our project will have a lasting impact. Firstly, our membership profile on the WISA website will show members in their different locations with their contact details in order for members to engage, enlist, and introduce themselves. Such a simple tool will be such a great way to map out our network and use our membership as a superpower. Secondly, our webinar will give information, encouragement, and support to every member. This webinar intends to help build resilience through being stronger together and helping women in seafood realise they are not alone. Lastly, our paint and sip session celebrating International Women's Day will provide opportunity for women to network in a face-to-face situation. This will cement online relationships and further strengthen our collective. Our project has really been about how we can bring women together. We know when we bring women together, amazing things happen. Finding your tribe, as we have done here with WISA, has been an amazing experience. And we want to share this with potential new members and help them shine wherever they are in Australia, in whatever aspect of the seafood industry they are in. Now I'll hand over to Alison.
Thank you, Rebecca. Magnificent job. So I'm presenting to everybody the Turn the Tide takeaways, the things you can take away with you today. What we learnt about the Entrepreneurship and Leadership program, which was guided by our team facilitator Sarah, and contributions from my team colleagues, Frances, Jazzy, Rebecca, Shandy and myself. We met, we workshopped, we talked some more, and we listened. Now we converge here in Canberra. Our group came to understand that leadership may not point to a single person, but as the leader, but to what can be achieved by working with and being part of a team. The Turn the Tide 23 program encouraged us to think of the issues impacting women working in and across various sectors of the seafood industry. At first, the notion of our topic, because so many words in it, oh my God, seemed overwhelmingly far removed from what we presumed entrepreneurship and leadership would be. But interestingly, the good and the not so good issues impacting across the seafood industry had common themes between in our workplaces and across our groups. Barriers may include things like in the workplace being overlooked for employment, lower wages, reduced career advancement, less opportunity for training, feeling undervalued. Personal barriers may be working in isolation from other women, juggling family commitments, reduced personal time, and putting your own healthy body and healthy mind in the back seat. But we identified some opportunities which may include in the workplace, discussions with like-minded people, building and expanding knowledge, networking, connections, accessing new information, understanding other sectors and careers, and improved our problem-solving skills. Personally, gained positive self-confidence came into it, fresh ideas were sparked, understanding our own self-worth and value. We gained a sense of rejuvenation and contribution to our own personal resiliences. So these things that I've read out were dot-pointed. When I found out I was going to be the closing comments today, I called upon my teammates, including Sarah, and this is what they inputted, and there were some common themes in there too, so thank you, everybody. Turn over. Quite unintentionally, we're excited and confident that our three proposals that were explained earlier will be complementary to WISER moving forward. Alongside WISER, we encourage you all to enjoy it and to join us in our next steps. Everyone here today can take away a copy, which is, I think, has been handed out, of our one-page information sheet for growing stronger networks for women in seafood to build resilience and opportunity. So the flyer will provide our team story, our processes, and our next steps as we continue to GROW our networks. Many thanks to my colleagues in my team, and also to the WISER facilitators in bringing this program together, helping us realise our potential to its fullest fruition. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're here all afternoon, so if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'll try our best to answer them. So bear with us whilst we trade places with the next team, the Glass Busters. Thank you.
Firstly, thank you for Team Tide with Connection. That was really, really wonderful. Good afternoon, everybody.
My name is Natalie. I am from Atlantis Fisheries Consulting. I am a research consultant for the seafood industry. Across the fishing and aquaculture sectors, whether on the water, in the water, on site, in the processing factory floor, in the office, in management, in marketing, in the lab, or in Canberra, women play a large and very significant role in the production of seafood in this country. However, as our project will show, that though women are present in large numbers, they are not present in those high-level decision-making positions on boards and committees, and in those top-level jobs such as executive director or CEO. That glass ceiling is ever present. It's that tricky little metaphorical barrier that impedes the advancement of certain groups, particularly women and minorities. This invisible but formidable obstacle limits upward mobility, preventing them from reaching top leadership positions, and despite qualifications and abilities. So why is this important that we address this? There is increasing evidence that all benefit from organisational cultures that are built on gender equity and diversity. And there is strong and growing evidence-based correlating diversity with increased productivity and innovation. Anne Fleming, just recently at the from the Australian Centre of International Agricultural Research, just recently at the World Aquaculture Conference, delivered a research paper by Rebecca Williams from UTAS, and she stated that if nothing changes, it is going to take 5 generations, so 127 years, for women to attain equality everywhere. As a visual reminder, up on the screen here, this is what the seafood industry looked like 5 generations ago. This tells us that we are far from achieving success for our SDG goal of gender equality by the target date of 2030, and we need to be working harder to close this gap. So, we are Team Glassbusters, and we have called our project Allyship. Our team consists of Lenny, Sandra, Sophie, Paula, who unfortunately could not be here for our trip to Canberra, myself, and our fearless leader Kate, who is sitting at the back there. We will be providing you with some insights into the issue of gender diversity facing our industry. Specifically, we will show you where women are present and most cases not present, and suggest why they may not be present and identify those potential barriers. We will also explain what we believe is the solution to change this picture. Apologise. Now I've lost myself. Here we go. We have something for women, we have something for employers, and a suggestion for everyone to become an ally and encourage allyship within their workplaces, associations, and across their sector. Allyship refers to a supportive and inclusive relationship between individuals or groups, typically in the context of social justice, equity, and advocacy. An ally is someone who actively works towards promote culture of inclusion, understanding, and equality, particularly for marginalised and underrepresented groups. But first, Lenny is going to start with the framing of this issue.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. My name is Lenny Donsala. I'm an aquaculture biologist for Genix based in Brisbane. Now we've heard some very interesting research this afternoon about women's representation, confidence and all sorts, and I'm here to tell you it gets worse. So we collected data from 127 groups. Here they are. These are groups, associations, peak bodies and working groups within the seafood industry alone. And it all up together equates to a total of 838 seats or positions within these groups. We only looked at members of boards or leaders because we define these positions as people with positions of voice. These are people who hold a space and can make changes in these groups and therefore within the industry. They're influential people, really. So we broke this down. Are you surprised? Here we go. So 838 seats, 209 of them are filled with women. Wow. 2023, we have a quarter of representation in leadership roles and board groups of women. We then broke this down into government versus private sector, and we found that women represented 26% of government seats, while only 17% of the seats in private sector were filled with women. Furthermore, we investigated these groups and looked into their leads. These were roles like CEO, chair, president, they're the head of the table, and found that only 9% of lead roles were held by women. We broke this down even more and found that some women held 2 or more lead roles within multiple groups. So this 9% is actually quite conservative. We found it was rare for men to hold more than one lead role in more than one group. Speaking with some of the leaders of these groups revealed that many of the women who were on these boards were not actually in the industry, but rather part of government or official groups. And often the leaders of these groups were not sure how they could encourage women in the industry to join their boards, or they believe women just don't have the time for this commitment. But we conducted a survey that might say otherwise. Investigations into women's representation have been done in other sectors, such as agriculture, which has led to massive changes in that industry. Notably, the paper produced in 2000, Missed Opportunities, Unlocking the Future for Women in Agriculture. This was driven by an investigation into economic impacts of not having women involved in their industry. A study by McKinsey and Co. showed that companies that had low diversity in terms of gender equality were often 19% more likely to underperform financially. Companies that did not have gender or ethnic diversity were often 27% more likely to underperform financially. Not having strong gender equality not only has a financial impact, but McKinsey and Co. found impacts in workforce attraction and retention, business risks to innovation, and having better competitive advantage. This highlights that there's a lot of work to be done and we have a ways to go. So we suggest more studies should be carried out in this area to the effect of missed opportunities, but in the seafood industry. And we encourage champions and allies to speak up for us so that we can reach better women's representation.
Okay, so as Lenny mentioned, my name is Sandra. I'm a Research and Development Officer and Project Manager at Ornadas. So as Lenny mentioned, there's a lot of data that showing that not many women are in those positions of power where our voices can be heard. And we wanted to hear from the people from the industry, both men and women, how they were represented. And then we also wanted to hear how strong were their voices were and what we could do about it, how we could change this. By Monday morning, we got 47 responses. From those, 83% were women. Please, we have noticed that WISA shared our survey, so please keep participating. We want to collect more data. Okay, from those people who participated, so based on the data we have so far, most women are in aquaculture and doing different things, research and education, but we need more representation. We need more data from fisheries from the government, post-harvest sales, everything. Please keep participating. All right, and then regarding who have the voice. So as you can see here, most women, 57.4% have no positions of power. No, our voices cannot be heard. While for men, it's more even. And it takes us more than 10 years to get to a position of power. More than 10 years. And this is not the case for men. It takes men usually less than 5 years. All right, then what what's happening? What are women saying? What's the problem? So as you can see, and other groups have mentioned, there's a lack of confidence. Unfortunately, we are not confident enough. We think we don't have the right qualifications to get there. We think our work-life balance is going to be affected. We are afraid of delivering. We have all of these responses. And from men, we got they don't want more responsibility. Okay. And we also wanted to know, so okay, if we're going to fix this, what's the best way to do it? And WISA is doing a great work with our face-to-face workshops. We're all here face-to-face with this, having these great results. Also one-to-one, so there was a lot of face-to-face, but there's a third one, favorite or preferred by people, were the reading resources, those quick and informative resources. So here's what we did about that.
Thank you, Sandra. Hello, everyone. I'm Sophie. I work at Monsoon Aquatics in Darwin, Northern Territory. So, as Sandra mentioned, the findings in our survey did show that women's preferred learning style was short reading resources. So we thought we would come up with the Women's Allyship, which is a 10-page booklet packed full of information that can start to address the barriers that women are facing in the seafood industry. And for us, we thought we would share positive stories of successful women in the industry as well. So it's a way to convey the idea that the project seeks allies who will stand with us and support women in achieving greater representation and career opportunities in a way that is considerate of women's time and preferred learning methods. So here we've put in some buzzwords, some key statements that might be familiar to us in the seafood industry and maybe to women in particular, but we wanted to highlight these to people that might not have been exposed to these words or have been impacted by them. So the outcomes in our group, we looked at our survey data. We decided that the first topics that we wanted to present were knowing your value, so building women's confidence up. We've found that women aren't confident, we suffer from imposter syndrome, and our groups experience that personally. Just having conversations in the room at the networking dinner, we feel this topic, we've been there, and we need to address this. Some of the other really important topics that we felt were CV writing. So what we thought we could do was get a powerhouse of a woman in, someone that's blazed the trail already, to present a workshop on CV writing. We can look at her resume, we can compare our own, and hopefully by the end of that workshop, actually walk away knowing that you've got a resume that you can put in front of someone that is going to make you feel confident and hopefully get that position that you want. So the topics can be ongoing, they can be extended upon each edition of our booklet, they can be relevant, and they can come from feedback from women within the industry. We want to open those communication channels and let women tell us what they need, what obstacles are they facing, and what do they need to actually overcome these barriers. So being a short 10-page booklet, we felt that we would be able to spread this far and wide. We just need the backbone, we need the powerhouse behind it, someone that can help distribute this and actually the funding behind this material. So it is almost print ready, and as I said, we just need an investor to get us there. We need to find these women that are willing to share their stories and to share their skill sets for the women in the industry. We know that this is just the beginning. We can know that we can take it even further. And the concept of the Women's Allyship is built to collaborate not just with women, but also with the entire industry, meaning everyone in this room. So one common feedback that we hear is that we can't find the women. I want you to take a look around because there's so many women in this room. There's 28 fearless leaders that have done this WISA Entrepreneur and Leadership program, and they might just be waiting for that tap on the shoulder. Thank you.
Good afternoon. What inspiring presentations by amazing women. Such important issues have been discussed, and I feel we are on our way to finding solutions. My name is Sarah Hetzel. I am a facilitator and also own an oyster business in Coffin Bay, South Australia. We now have about 25 minutes for any questions you might want to ask any of the groups. So feel free to put your hand up and I'll come up around. Don't be shy. Thank you.
that leader. She should get back in a box. I was going to ask for the survey for the Glassbusters to be reshared, because I don't know when it was originally shared, but I don't remember filling it in. So that was one query. The other query was of team confidence, in terms of what their thoughts were in regards to where a good home would be for the podcasts to reside within, so that they're not lost into the future. Who would be the logical place, or where would be the logical place in the industry for those to sit?
So one of our recordings we did actually just over Zoom. Cecile conducted her recording from Zoom. It was really simple to edit and to publish, and it was very listenable, when I listened to the whole thing from start to finish. So if we provide a template, which we've pretty much got the whole thing ready, it's something that anyone could take on voluntarily. Cecile even had the suggestion this morning of students taking it on as well as hosts and reaching out to mentors that they'd like to speak to. And perhaps there would be a central person at WISA who could facilitate the distribution and publishing of those episodes. Yeah, the WISA website, and yeah.
Disappointed we didn't get any oysters last night. What about you, Josh? Great presentations, just amazing. I have to admit, went home last night with a hell of a buzz. So well done to everyone. I think there's two things I'd be interested in. One is, did we touch enough on entrepreneurship versus leadership? And I'd be interested in people's view on that. Did the balance right? And the other one is, we often talk about pathways, and while we talked about, ceilings, opportunities, etc., we didn't talk about is there a different pathway for women versus men? Is it the same pathway? What are the things that we're currently not doing? Because I'm one of those men who says I can't find those women, right? So, and we recently had a call for research advisory committees. We went backwards. We had less applicants than last time. So I'm just interested in, are they the wrong pathways? And maybe people like FRDC are providing the inappropriate pathways for women's leadership, because we use a traditional male one, which is committees. Does that make sense? So just be interested in the pathways one and the entrepreneurship.
Who would like to answer that? Thanks, Lenny.
Yes, Lenny wants to start speaking. Great topic there, Patrick, because I think personally, and a lot of women in the room, think that I don't think there needs to be a separate pathway for men and women. The whole point is that we want to be able to fit on that pathway. It's made for two people, with a third one falling behind. It's a bit awkward. It's not nice. So what we would recommend at the Glassbusters here is that you make a call out to WISA. We would like to build a database of women who are board ready, group ready, member ready, where you can go and say, hey, I would like someone with a monodon breeding background, and you get me. Please. So we would like to build a robust thing that people from all walks of the industry would be able to reach out and think, I can't find these women, where are they? Another part onto that also might be the way that you are putting out your job advertisements. Inclusive recruitment is very important. The language you use, making sure it's not too masculine, because it will scare women away. Making sure that if you are calling out to board members, that you're not just saying, AGM next Friday, show up, let's go. We're all busy people, we need a bit more information. Are we meeting quarterly or meeting annually? How much time is this going to take? That sort of stuff. So thinking about your recruitment and reaching out to WISA so that we can build that database so that you can get incredible women on your team. Thanks, Pat, that's a great question.
Celeste?
Hi, I'd just like to add a little bit to what Lenny has said. My name is Celeste. It's not a question so much as just a reflection point. If we do have people looking for their next team member, and there's a mention of, committees, I hear network in that. And so I wonder, when we're thinking about our own network and who we know in the industry and have those connections and relationships with, have we really sought out all the brilliant women, excellent women that are networks waiting to happen? Or is there perhaps a network that you've relied on for a long period of time, but you haven't actually noticed who's not in there and what voices and experiences you're missing out on?
I'm sorry, just to add a little bit further, I guess, my name's Sam from the aquaculture industry. I did receive some communications about the recent call for the RAC specifically in South Australia. And I think part of the problem could be that that is being distributed to these high-level parts of our industry that are dominated by men. Thankfully, in the business that I'm in, it trickled down to me and I was able to provide some input. But if we're only putting those advertisements out to that high level that are currently sitting at 91% men, how are we going to find the women?
Sorry. So one final comment, I suppose. So from someone who was on the TASRAC for 2 years and actively chose not to participate for this round, I received quite a bit of, not negative feedback, but my workplace wasn't as supportive as they could have been. And I think that other people that I work with, especially within the technical backgrounds of research, don't get the support from their supervisors, their managers, higher ups. And I had yes, okay. So entrepreneurship, I think a lot of us, especially in the first workshop, went entrepreneurship. We were starting from scratch. We really didn't understand what it was, how we were going to get there, and why it was important to us and our careers. I'd like to have had a bit more time for an active example. Yes. And I didn't see entrepreneurship as a woman's role either, honestly, right at the beginning. I didn't feel that entrepreneurship was a woman's role. Of course it is. The confidence wasn't there for me, and I think that's probably 80% of the room. I don't run a business. I don't think that entrepreneurship is my role. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Wherever the camera is. I feel like I'm in 1984 or something. Hi. Now I've completely lost my track. Presentations were great, and that I was saying that people have to step into that space, and you can't wait for invitations and permission and approval before you start. You have to build the confidence to do it. So that's where these projects are really brilliant. And I do think, in relation to Patrick's question regarding entrepreneurship, what I would be encouraging all of you to think about is entrepreneurship can mean different things to different people. I stepped out of going, research in a university doesn't work for me. Research in a government body doesn't work for me. Research in a private enterprise research doesn't seem to work for me. Oh, looks like I'm stepping out on my own and becoming an entrepreneur in research. And I've worked for myself ever since. So, but it was because of my networks, because of the people that I had brought around me, that I had the confidence to give that a crack. And so, in regards to that question, I do see it as one leading to the other. And I think it's really incumbent upon all of us to work with you to help you build that confidence and networks and support to step into your own space and not look for that approval, invitation, or whatever else you're waiting for, and then get on with thinking about whether you want to be an entrepreneur in a particular area. An entrepreneur doesn't necessarily mean... Entrepreneur is a new and different way of thinking. So it can be all sorts of different things. It's your creation, not imitating anybody else. Thanks.
Well done, everyone. Incredible seeing the journey from yesterday then to today's presentation. So just amazing, all of you. You talked a lot, all of the teams talked about soft wiring. So you talked about learning, education and resources. Has anyone thought, given the conversation we had last night around some of those future issues that we might have, what are some of the hardwiring things that we think we might need in the industry to support the change that needs to occur? Now, hardwiring could be many things, but I'm more interested in what you think it is. So, hardwiring example would be quotas for women in leadership. That's one.
My name's Celeste, still Celeste. Can't pretend to be anyone else. One of the things that we discussed last night at our table was that we have so many excellent organisations and groups and departments in seafood in Australia, but we don't currently have anything that regulates our employment protections and rights. And although we do have federal and state level anti-discrimination and human rights commissions and Safe Work, Fair Work, we don't have something that is within the seafood industry that really understands the way that all of those impacts and burdens not just affect us as women, but then the layers of intersectionality that impact some women more than others. And I think that that would be something that is on the horizon, that once we do some of these first obvious barriers, knocking them down, that those are the next barriers to make sure that we bring all the women with us and that there's protection when things go wrong, and education so that every work site is understanding what their positive duty is, the way they can protect their human assets, and if there's not equity, how to really see that as something that they need for their company, for their reputation, as well as for the experience of their staff.
We do have a question online, so we'll do that one next.
Beck Pedler from Clean Say Seafood in Lincoln. I don't know if this is going on the same wavelength that you're on, but one area that I would particularly be interested in seeing is funding options for women that want to pursue training to get into those higher level positions. So perhaps we can offer bursaries for women that want to pursue MBAs and things like that, because those types of training aren't, I guess they're expensive. You don't really pursue them on your own. You're often supported by a business, and it's often members of the business in those higher positions that are getting offered that training, which is often men. So can we get that training to females that sort of gets them in those higher positions earlier, perhaps?
Thank you. We have a question from the professional fishers in New South Wales. Did you speak with any of the existing women leaders to discuss their advice on their journeys and tools that would have been useful?
Yeah, Frances again from Tasmania. We did, through the whole workshop journey that we went on, we did get speakers in, so professional women in those sort of high-level positions to give us insights, advice, sort of coaching along the way. Yeah, so absolutely, it did happen. Yep, and some of them as well, like Alana showed up last night. It was amazing.
Thank you. Firstly, I just want to congratulate you all. Like, the feeling of real warmth and genuine regard you have for each other was really demonstrated. You treated each other so respectfully last night and today, and I just want to commend you because that's a real demonstration of leadership, really strong leadership traits and qualities. So I commend all of you, and for your bravery. I could see and feel and empathise with you so many times with that nervousness that some of you brought, and you overcame it, and we all stumble sometimes, and it's okay. So I really just want to acknowledge all of you for really stepping into this opportunity, and the presentations that you gave were really inspirational and really thought-provoking. So some of the research, particularly, I had a question about for the. I've written like 6 questions, but I'll try and limit myself. But very, very engaged. The mention of the study, that there was more research needed to be carried out to get better female representation. Is that the study that you're currently undertaking, or do you think that there's further work that needs to be done? Was my first question. Do you want me to come to you? I'll come to you. But the people online can't hear you. Look at this. Woo!
Yes. I can bring it back. So we did just some prelim. We interviewed some people. We asked some questions about you're on a board, who's on your board, what's your representation, male versus female, just to get some stats, because it's 2023. I assumed it would be 50-50. It wasn't. A bit ashamed about that one. So agriculture has done a lot of this intensive research. One of our influencer is Alana Johnson, who is an absolute champion in that space. And what we're calling for is for more research to be done like that one in agriculture. I think we'll be pretty surprised with the impact it can have, especially as we have seen the influence in the agriculture space. Very much, yes.
Those committee roles were publicly advertised on Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram, but do put your hand up. But if you have somebody who you know that's on those research advisory committees, I encourage you, all of you, to put forward those suggestions as a research priority so they come through the FRDC system for consideration. Obviously you've got a direct line to Patrick because he's here, but we do like following due process because we're a statutory agency of government. So I had a question which I am actually going to direct to the facilitators, only in that it prompted when somebody said that their workplace wasn't supportive of participation in something like a regional advisory committee, which is so integral to the seafood industry and the fishing sector more broadly. I was wondering if in the evaluation, because I'm not going to ask everyone now because I think it wouldn't be fair, but it would be really interesting to get an indication of the level of support that participants felt that they had from their employers, from their broader ecosystem, because, beg your pardon? Yeah, to participate in the program. I just thought it'd be really interesting, so I'm just providing feedback because I don't want to put people on the spot and say, were you supported by your employer? Because that could be career limiting because they might be watching. So the other question I had was the she, and this ties in because I think that there were several entrepreneurial ideas that were suggested that could, have a commercial pathway or an income. depending on how they were executed. And the she particularly, I was curious, was that the reason that you had it as a separate platform, because it has the capability to potentially derive money as opposed to having it integrated into the Wiser platform? Oh, George, I'll run over.
Hi, I'm Jem. We wanted SheSee to be the place that people felt they could come because nothing was there. And we've still got a lot of work to do on this, and I think it's got such great legs if we get behind it. But absolutely, it can be all of those things and more.
You got more?
The paint and sip, is that a coordinated thing? Like, are we actually going to have a coordinated thing for that, or is it just a... Okay, great. Awesome.
Yes, so my group are going to continue working next year in each of the main, or in each of the states. We will be organising it in collaboration with Wiser, so keep watch for that. We've probably got 2 or 3 questions. Yep.
Hi everyone, my name's Gabrielle. I work for Australia's Oyster Coast. My background's also sort of agribusiness, so wine industry prior to swapping over to the seafood sector. My question relates mainly to Team Glassbusters, and it's based on my own industry experience. So, love the idea of the booklet as an additional resource for women, but I've got 2 suggestions I thought would be really good to add as additional resources. So when you're talking about CV writing, I think we all would know how to write a CV. I think what would be really important is negotiation skills and how to negotiate a pay packet, because in my experience, whenever I've gone for a job, I've always been offered a lower pay packet to what I'm worth. And also I've had to go to my male colleagues and get them to give me the confidence and that booster to push for what I'm worth. Also, I actually think it'd be really good for an additional resource for leaders, not just men in leadership roles, but women also in leadership roles, to address the unconscious bias that takes place at the interview stage. Because a lot of it is, as we've seen in statistics, is very male-dominated. But the women who have worked really hard to get to those levels often might also fall under that unconscious bias. And for men, not in my current job, but previous jobs, I've been asked, do I plan on having any more children? Which is awful. Illegal and awful, but when you're working for small, I know you're government, but when you work for a small agricultural business, those questions still get asked on a day-to-day basis. I know it's illegal, but I'm the proud mother of 3 beautiful children, all girls. And it is, like, I don't want my children to have to be asked those questions, and I don't want it to be shunned upon and illegal, but still happening in a day-to-day practice. So that was my other one. Also, I wanted to say to Team Confidence, I love the idea of a podcast. As a busy mother, I listen to podcasts while I do my washing at 10 o'clock at night. And I think maybe looking into some funding or sponsorship in that space would be really useful. And also finally to the she, you can't be what you can't see. And I think your idea of that platform is entrepreneurship right then and there. It just exemplifies that. So good work.
Thank you for that. Yep. Alison?
Thank you for those comments. Sorry, I didn't get your name. Hi, Gabrielle. Thank you. I think that what you said is very valid, and I'm not a young person anymore. I'm certainly not having any more children. But perhaps we as a group, industry, government departments, can use those kind of questions to help map out the way forward. So, take, for instance, disability. If a person with a disability is taking a job, they may be asked by the employer or the workplace, what can we do to help you? Do you need a ramp? Do you need an elevator? That kind of thing. So perhaps it's time to turn those questions around, be bold, answer the questions, even though it might be illegal, and say, well, yes, and if you can help me on my journey, I'll be loyal to you. And let's get this thing happening. That's all I want to say.
Okay, we've got one question left. Who would like it? Anyone on? Yep, excellent.
Hello there, my name is Julia. It's lovely. I've loved the presentations this afternoon. Thank you for having me. Excuse my voice, it's disappeared. I guess mine's a comment probably more than a question, but I'm interested about other male-dominated industries across the country, and we know there's a few of them. The building industry comes to mind. And I'm wondering if whether there's some ways to join forces, I guess, because some of particularly the podcasts, I just think there's lots of learning that can be shared outside of this industry. And I'm new to the seafood industry. I don't know whether the issues are particular just to seafood, but I was sort of thinking bigger outside of seafood. But well done, great thinking, all of you.
Thank you very much for everyone that has asked a question and also given an answer. So thank you. Head over to Heidi. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you very much to all our facilitators and our participants for those eye-opening presentations that you've all given us this afternoon, and also for all the questions that have come from the floor. Thank you very much. However, the fun doesn't stop there. As Salma indicated a little earlier on, we are now going to give our guests the opportunity to go and speak in a little bit more detail with each of the project groups, to have some more conversations with them, to dig a little bit deeper. So as you can see, each of the groups are sitting together on a table up the back of the room. And we're going to give you about 25 to 30 minutes now as guests to be able to move between the groups, go and have some discussions, dig a little bit deeper on those project topics that you've heard about this afternoon. Discuss next steps was how I was going to frame it, and potentially how you might be able to add value to some of the projects that you've heard about this afternoon. So please get up, have some conversations, mingle, go and move your way around the tables and the groups that you've heard from this afternoon, and in about 25 minutes, half an hour, I'll call you back together. Thank you.